See that okay?
Yeah, looks good, Aaron. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Diane was having some trouble getting logged in, so I'll see if she's gone in yet or not. Let me check with her.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop meeting for February 12, 2024. The AC Valley workshops are conducted virtually, and the link to access the workshop is always posted at the acvsd.org website. During the workshop, I will provide the school board members with information that will help to clarify agenda items, and please remember to jump in and ask questions and make comments at any time. And at this time, can I please have Madam Secretary conduct the roll call?
CJ Adams,
Here.
Patty Anderson,
Here.
Carrie Armagost, John Burke, Brady Fight,
Here.
Diane
John
Page.
Burke's here.
Gotcha. Diane Page, Jeff Powell, Eric Sudling,
Here.
Kelly Treveliger.
Here.
And Carrie was on there. Carrie Armagost?
I believe she's muted, but she is here.
Okay,
I'm
thanks.
I'm on. I'm sorry. I was having trouble unmuting. I'm here.
That's all right, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Karen. Okay, at this time, we'll
Diane's
go
still
ahead and,
trying. Diane's still trying to get on. She's going to try from her phone.
okay, thanks, Kelly. Keep us posted. At this time, we'll work our way down through the agenda this evening. Under presentations, we don't have anybody this evening, but next Monday, the face-to-face voting meeting, we will have Mark Turnley He is the AC Valley School Auditor. He will be presenting the findings from the 2022-2023 school year and present his report to the school board members. In addition to that, we will have our high school students, Grace Barlett and Jana Rose, down to talk about the chief science officers and their action plan to support STEM. And just keep in mind that STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And at times you may hear that called STEAM. And the A represents the arts. We'll also hear from Trevor Howe, our math coach. He's designated under math and MTSS. And just keep in mind that the MTSS stands for Multi-Tiered System of Supports. And it's a school-wide action plan to help all of our students succeed. And before we move into the consent agenda, I'll pause for any kind of school board concerns that we may have this evening. Hearing none, I'll continue into the consent agenda, and I'll direct your attention to page 6. We have a number of conferences and field trips in front of you this evening. First off, I submitted my annual legislative trip, and just keep in mind that we will be going to Harrisburg. We'll drive out on May 6th. We'll meet with the PASA president and the Board of Governors that evening, and then on the 7th, we'll spend the entire day in the Capitol. Keep in mind that I am part of the Northwest Superintendent Summit. We meet yearly. That summit is representing the northwestern portion of Pennsylvania, covers 108 schools, and we have just about 110,000 students that we represent. During the summit, it's filled full of professional development activities, but we also take time during that session to identify areas that are impacting northwestern Pennsylvania, and we create talking points. We'll take those talking points and strategically meet with members of the House as well as the Senate, folks from Pennsylvania Department of Education, and in the past, we had met with the governor's office. This year, we'll be talking about House Bill 1422, which is cyber reform. We'll continue the discussion about the fair funding formula. We'll ask for mandate relief, and we're also going to be talking about the multi-county equalization formula that impacts 88 school districts that are located in more than one county. In addition to that, we have Mrs. Lowe. She submitted a request to take a group of students to Trinity Point Church. This is the Prevention Connection Days. The students will hear from several speakers who talk about positive life choices and consequences of risky behavior. We also have Mary Ann Myers. If you recall, she's our new special ed teacher at the Western Secure Treatment Unit. And she went down already for the Allegheny 3 Homestead IEP writing training. And the focus will be writing meaningful and purposeful IEPs. We also have second grade. They submitted their yearly trip to Clarion County Shippensville Park, and we'd like to thank the PTO for their ongoing support for all of our elementary trips. Just keep in mind that there are several trips that we're working on finding transportation. Mr. Sherman's doing a lot of work on trying to work with PTO and see if there's any outside vendors that could help with those transportation on the trips that last longer than the school day. For example, second grade, we can use one of our regular buses to and from and still do the AM PM run. There's a few that are outside of the school day, and we're working on that. In addition to that, we have a couple requests from the cafeteria department, the Serve Safe certification. There's a requirement to have somebody certified in both kitchens on campus every day. Stacy's certified, but she was making a recommendation, have Tina and Amber certified with Safe Serve. And then Aaron, on the next page, you'll see a request from Stacy Redding that to attend the Pittsburgh Regional Food Service Director meeting. This is a PDE requirement and also good practice. She goes down there and is presented with professional development topics, but also talking about any kind of changes or trends in the cafeteria as well. Then we have the high school science department. They put in for a couple trainings at intermediate unit number 6, and they're part of the new science standards that we have um, being implemented this year. So it's great to see the entire science department put in the request, and hopefully they'll be able to bring information back to help enhance the curriculum and student learning. In addition to that, we have 6th grade going to the Career Center. Just keep in mind that they go up there every year, and they have a tour of the facility, and they're presented with information about the different programs and certifications that they have to offer students. And again, we'll take those students back up there in 9th grade before they start scheduling for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. We also have a request from the band boosters, and this is going to be a joint collaboration between Union as well as AC Valley. And as you can see, that they'll be going to Hershey Park. There's a 3-day activity provided by the music tours. They'll go out there and perform and do the tour. Just keep in mind that Karen Hetrick's not part of this. This is the band boosters. In addition to that, we'll have a number of adults and parents that we're going to request volunteer status with them. They're putting in their required clearances at this time, and that should be a good trip. Sarah Black is the one that's spearheading it on our end. Sarah is one of our elementary school teachers, and school should be over depending on weather-related cancellations. It won't impact, but if it does, just keep in mind that there could be a cost to the district for a day sub if we can't fill that internally. We might be able to use Sydney in that position if need be, but again, right now, there's no cost to the district. The cost is being paid for by the music boosters. And then moving on to page 8, we have one more request and then a couple corrections. Just keep in mind that this Carnegie Art Museum tour down in Pittsburgh is being spearheaded by Rachel Forsyth. She had submitted a admission scholarship application and was awarded that application. There's money coming out of the art club as well, but she took some time to submit that. And there's a number of high school students and staff going down with her. So hopefully that'll be a great learning environment for them as well. And then you'll see we have a correction under the PA Smart Steels conference. We were mistaken and we had the wrong funding stream down there. Just keep in mind that's our ARP ESSER 3 grant that we'll be paying for those 2 trainings that Sarah had attended and will attend at IU6. And then we also have there's one more page there, Aaron. We have a update on the corrections conference that Lee or Dr. Myford and myself are going to, and it's at the Wyndham Garden State College, PA. The cost of the hotel room had changed. It was about $100 more. So we just corrected that. And just keep in mind that the cost of that will be paid for through the West 2 grant. We're just going to have to do some budget revisions at the end of the year. And Aaron, you could take us back to the top of the consent agenda. Are there any questions or clarification needed for those conferences or field trips that are in front of you this evening? Moving on to letter B under the consent agenda, we have Emily Logue, early childhood. She submitted her information to be a substitute teacher, which we're always open to use more subs. Letter C is a request from Jessica Namelli to use the elementary cafetorium in the hallways on Wednesday, May 8th for the high school and elementary school art show. Keep in mind that last year she did the art show and it was well attended, and it was a culmination of her art club that she had done after school. And kudos to Jessica and the students for the work that they're putting in. Letter D is a request from student council to use the elementary cafetorium on February 24th for the Sadie Hawkins dance. That's been going on for a very long time now. So we do appreciate all the support from student council in hosting those events. We also have under letter E, a request from the AC Valley Union Cross Country as well as the athletic department here to use the elementary school facilities and part of the property for a 5K race, and that'll be attached to the Wood Festival that our neighbor, Mr. Mike Beerb's spearheading. So we're working in collaboration with him and a number of different activities in Clarion County. We're hoping to use this as a fundraiser for the cross country team, and then also we're working with our new neighbor, Mr. Saji Daniels, to potentially use part of the farm for that 5K. Letter F is another request from the prom committee. This is new. It's a request on March 1st from 6 to 9 for daddy-daughter dance. And that's, I believe, kindergarten to 4th grade. Then on the top of page 2, we also have a request from the prom committee to use the high school auditorium for a grand march on April 27th from approximately 5 to 6 p.m. They'll set up and tear down. Letter H, that's per school code, a motion to accept a homeless student under section 1302 of the school code. And then letter I had alluded to that earlier with the trip for the band program. And those are the number of parent volunteers. Some of them are employees here at the district and other are new to the district. So Tammy's working to collect all the clearances, and we'll have that before the trip. In addition to those volunteers, we have a number of other volunteers for the district. We have a request from Chris Allworth to be a volunteer for the district, Rachel Brosnahan, Selena Petty Smith, Donald Smith, are all going to be part of our garden farm area and want to continue to work with that. And that was a program that we set up a few years ago and working with Dr. Jordan to try to get some collaboration with our teachers and then a number of our homeschool families to support that program over the summer. And then we have a part-time employee, number 131, put in for unpaid leave on the following days. I've seen Patty put in a couple. Campbell's, yeah, we're looking at Campbell's for some busing. And then Emily, a nurse too. I'm not sure about that.
Quick question, Chris Allworth, what are they wanting to be a volunteer for? Anything specific?
With Mrs. Quayle's class.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, David, but with Mrs.
No, I
Quayle's class.
appreciate that. I would have had to dig.
No, thank you, Tammy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my nurse question was, or that teacher nurse question is where that was on the agenda. It was marked as early childhood nurse. Above it was teacher or nurse. And I was wondering if it's a teacher or a nurse.
That's
Emily
a teacher. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a teacher, Patty, but we just have that teacher nurse up there. If we have any nurse subs, it just generally falls under that category as well.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Sure, thank you. Good question. Okay, moving into finance and purchase, we have a number of items in front of you this evening. We'll pay the bills and hear from Stacy next Monday, but letter H is a motion to accept a number of donations in memory of Holly Irwin. Right now, we're just over $2,800. We are putting that in with the backpack program, and we'll continue to use that for this school year and years to come. So we do appreciate everybody who has donated. We also
Yeah,
received
there's no
1,000.
voting. He's just reading.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patty. Did I miss you?
Nope, I'm sorry. I hit the mute. I hit the button.
Sure, no problem. We also have a donation of $1,000 from the United Way of Clarion County to the elementary school nurse and the elementary school students. Nurse Tracy is going to use that money to buy a new scale and some other items needed down here at the elementary office. So we do thank them for that generous donation. And then we also had a request from Foxburg Library to donate $600 to their program. And we've been donating $600 for as long as I can remember here within the district, and it helps to support the library and a number of our students who attend their programs. And then letter K is our annual E-rate application that came down from Mr. Fight. And he has a number of items in front of us. Just keep in mind that AC Valley will begin the application process for E-rate Category 2 funding for the 24-25 school year to improve and update the battery backups in both the high school and elementary school buildings, including the UPS rack-mounted smart back power supply units. Additionally, he's been working with Mrs. Sherman and the technology committee. We're getting ready for the one G unit, I believe it's called. This allows for Wi-Fi connectivity on our vans and buses. So we're going to beta test one of these units, and we're planning to put it on the Career Center bus to see about connectivity and providing the students with internet connection to and from the Career Center in the hopes that the students would be able to utilize that time for academic retention and progression. And also that would be able to provide a better communication with that bus up there coming and back. And then it will be magnetically mounted, the Wi-Fi system. So we'll be able to use that system elsewhere too to test the connectivity. As we all know, we've been trying to find a solution for 100% coverage with our communication. Mrs. Sherman does a good job with her cell phones, but there's some limitations associated with that. So we have that application in front of the school board. Just keep in mind with E-rate that they cover 70% of it. We have just over $40,000 in front of you. This motion this evening doesn't necessarily mean that we'll have to move forward with this, but what it does is give the business department direction as far as our budget. And then also if the E-rate application is approved, we have money coming out, then it could be a great update. Patty, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I just have a question on that because you triggered something for me.
Sure.
So I agree 100% on the idea of using it for the Career Center bus, but I think the other advantage, if we decide to move forward with this, certainly could be connectivity for kids when they're going back and forth with the co-op athletes, so they can continue to work on homework or things like that if they wanted to.
Yeah, agreed, Patty, and great point. We spend a lot of time on that bus, and boy, it'd be great to be a little bit more productive. Now, with that being said, I'm sure there's a lot that we have to do internally and to be able to support that. But this is a step one, and we'll at least get those items in here and start working on it. Okay, moving down through finance and purchase, letter L. We also have an agreement in front of you for school board training. Keep in mind that we do school board training along with the superintendent every couple years. We have a number of new school board members. Kelly has been working with Andrew for a while now. We budget $1,000 each year for training, travel, and such. We used a little bit of that money for Brady to attend his training through PSBA. So we don't have enough in the budget category right now to cover that. That doesn't mean that we don't have other areas within the budget that we can pull from that we hadn't spent. But just so the school board's aware, we're a little bit under budgeted on that area. Now, moving forward, we'll be working with the business department as we build next year's budget to continue to add some money to that, because I believe training is always beneficial, especially for new school board members.
Just a point here real quick, that training that or that the opportunity I have to go to with PSBA, that's probably only a once in a while thing. That I don't think that's going to be a reoccurring. I think it's going to be, from my understanding, every 5 or so years that opportunity will present itself. And I think once somebody goes, I don't know that they're eligible to reapply and re-go on another trip like that.
Thanks, Brady. We do appreciate you attending as well. And then finally, under finance and purchase, we have a motion to accept the audit that Mark Turnley will present at the beginning of the meeting. It'll give you a little time to digest it, ask any kind of questions that we may have, and then we'll formally approve that as we move into the new budget cycle. Are there any questions about finance and purchase before we move into personnel? Okay, letter A, there's just a couple updates on that motion. We do have a motion in front of the school board for maternity leave. The number of that employee is 371 and the date is August. So we'll be working internally here within the district to approve all the appropriate FMLA paperwork that'll be coming in. And then we'll be advertising for that over the summertime for long-term sub. Just keep in mind that the motion right below that is for another teacher at the elementary school who will be out on FMLA leave as well. And that other motion is to fill it starting April 1. So we do have the long-term sub internal, but we will be advertising to see if first we could find a certified elementary teacher who's qualified to fill that position. Just a little clarification on those two items. In addition to that, we do have a letter of resignation in front of you this evening for Federal Programs Coordinator Carrie Longo. Carrie's been in this role for a while now and is actually doing an excellent job. And there's been a lot of learning and processing going on. And we hate to see Carrie go, but we understand that she has other obligations outside of the school day that requires much more time for her. So she's going to finish off the school year and work until the end of June. We're exploring other options internally as far as filling that position. In addition to that, letter D, we have a letter of resignation from Stacy Redding. She's our weight room supervisor, and due to extenuating circumstances, she's going to be done on Monday, February 12th. And then we also have motion underneath that to advertise for that weight room supervision. Just keep in mind that's a minimum wage job, and it is just for a few hours after school during the week. And then in addition to that, we've had a couple errors on the agenda and we're correcting them this evening. Letter F is a correction to Jake Dehart. He's the elementary boys basketball coach. Just keep in mind that we've taken that coaching position for a good number of years and split it in half. And we, in essence, had a girls elementary basketball coach and a boys elementary basketball coach. And that's been in place since before I started here at AC Valley over 17 years ago. So we had an error with that salary. So that $439 is half of that salary and corrected. And then in addition to that, we've had some fluctuation within our boys junior high basketball program. So we're clarifying and supporting that assistant position as well. So we're going to prorate Ian Runyon, but we also had Valerie Snyder in there as a temporary assistant junior boys basketball coach from December 18th to January 17th. So we took that salary and we broke it up equally. So Ian will now be paid $1,037.04. And his time in that position started January 17th and will run through the end of the school year, or end of the season, rather. And then we're also happy to present to you Alyssa Wingard as our new head volleyball coach. Dr. Jordan and Mr. Sherman interviewed, making a recommendation, and she comes to us with no experience, and her salary is at $2,194. And then Megan Bashline, who has helped in the past, volunteered, well, applied to be the head junior high volleyball coach as well. And we do appreciate Megan stepping into that role at a salary of $878. And then we have some work going on this week to fulfill the next couple motions. But right now we have been advertising for a long-term substitute nurse here within the district. We have, I believe, 6 applicants coming in on Tuesday, February 13th. We'll be interviewing throughout the day, and we're hoping to make a recommendation to fill these needs that we have within the district. And once again, I do want to formally thank Tracy Daly for all the work that she's put into covering both buildings and keeping everybody as safe as possible here within the district. In addition to that, we will be interviewing and making a recommendation to fulfill the vacancy within the cafeteria position. That's a part-time 3 hours per day position. And then we also have a light duty custodian vacancy that we moved around some people internally. and we had advertised on Indeed. And we have 4 people who are all relatively local and have some experience coming in to meet with James and me later this week. And again, we're hoping to have a recommendation to hire on Monday, February 19th. And then finally, we have in front of you a sick leave donation plan, and that's been in place for a good number of years here within the AC Valley District, and that's an agreement with the school district and the professional staff, and it just outlines and formalizes the process that we have. So theoretically, if somebody were to fall ill or a close family member falls ill and the employee exhausts all their sick days, emergency leave, personal and such, and still can't come back into work because of the illness or the family member not being well, then the teachers can donate sick days to each other. And the association takes care of most of that. Tammy helps us spearhead that and organizes it. But that's the sum of that. If there are any days left over at the end, then those days will return back to that employee. So that covers personnel. Are there any questions that I can help clarify? Okay, moving into instructional services. As you can see, we're ramped up to begin the planning for the 24-25 school year. And in front of you, I have the AC Valley School District calendar that's very closely aligned, almost to the day with the Clarion County Career Center. And we're trying to do everything we can to get our kids up there to maximize as many hours as possible. So that calendar begins in August 19th and 20th would be the first 2 in-service days. We get kids on August 21st. We have a Act 80 day on Thursday, October 3rd, and that'll be a half-day professional development and half-day open house. That worked very well. And then that Friday, October 4th is ALF day. Thanksgiving's about the same. Christmas break is 2 full weeks, so the kids are going to love that. And we have pretty much a break in each of the months in the spring. We have 3 built-in snow makeup days, and we have 3 built-in Act 80 days. Just keep in mind that there are some provisions that have been changed in the school code that at one time it was 180 days and 990 hours at the high school, 900 at the elementary. But now the school code reads that it could be or. So we could put in 180 days or the 990 days. Here at AC Valley, we're keeping everything about the same. We have a single tier bus. I don't believe we should shorten down the school year at all. Everything's going well right now. And especially since we're aligning and trying to get as many hours as possible with our students that attend the Career Center. So we put a lot of work into that, and we're hoping to have another very successful year. In addition to that, we have in front of you the 24-25 Western Secure Treatment Unit calendar, very similar to what we started this year, but we will have a full year starting on August 1st. Just keep in mind that we'll continue to run 4-day work weeks, 3-day weekends. We'll be working with the rite of passage staff to implement programs on those Fridays, as well as over the summertime. Dr. Myford's up there working, supporting them. In addition to last year's calendar, we did put in progress reports and report cards on this calendar. And we did that because there's a number of probation officers and judges that are requesting information almost on a weekly basis. So that'll help to clarify and provide more guidance as the students are coming and going. We have, several holiday breaks built in, and then we have the 3 Act 80 days tied into that, same as our school district calendar, so that we can have the 2 staff members or the staff members from the 2 organizations continue to collaborate and learn together. And then finally, I have with you the annual updated organizational chart. And I had Tammy double check me, make sure it's spelling correct and all the names are correct. So I do ask that school board members get into their shared drive and just take a look at that. It provides a really good overview as far as the district, provides organization and clarity as far as who's teaching what staff members working in which building. We go into great detail with transportation as well as athletics. And then new this year, we also have the Western Secure Treatment Unit in front of you as well. Are there any questions under personnel before we move into policy? Okay, we have policy 200, 202, 217, 254 for the second reading, and that all is related into students who are eligible to participate here in the district. And there's a lot of information in there directly tied to military families who move around, and it really puts the pressure back on the school district to make that transition as quick and easily as possible, and to provide those students with education on day one when they show up. In addition to that, we have the second reading on policy 810, and the big change with that policy is the fact that we could put cameras on our stop arms for the buses. The contractors may or may not decide to do that anytime soon, but the policy's changed and does permit that in an effort to help cut down and follow up on anybody who runs any of the red flashing lights, picking or dropping off students. And then new this month for the first reading, we do have policy 610, 611, and 626 are UGG policies in front of you. Just keep in mind that the bidding threshold for getting quotes and bids had changed a little bit. So the PA state threshold was for quotes $12,200, and it's increased to $12,600. And then the PA state bid threshold went from $22,500 to $23,200. The federal micro purchase threshold stays at $10,000, and the acquisition threshold stays at $250,000. So just to ensure our compliance and that our policy is aligned with the state threshold, we are making a recommendation to update those policies. Just keep in mind that nothing else changed within those policies. It was just the bidding numbers that I presented to you. Moving on, James will be here to provide updates on facilities on Monday, and then we'll just finish off. We have a couple of transportation updates. Mr. Sherman's been working with our homeless family. You'll see the student ID numbers in there, and we're required to provide transportation to and from home when the students are displaced. And just keep in mind that we don't have any extra buses or vans right now to haul these students. So the parent was gracious enough to we provided them with a contract for their mileage. We pay them at the state rate per mile to and from. But you will see underneath that motion is a request for Clint Ace to become a new van contractor. He's been working with Lori on getting the information pulled together, but he doesn't have everything in place yet. And the reason why is because he wants to be ensured that we will put him on as a van contractor. So hopefully, Mr. Sherman's optimistic that Clint will be a contractor that could take care of a run like the homeless students, or maybe one of the Amish runs or such. There's a lot of needs that we have in the district right now. So that's just a little overview of transportation. And then there's just a number of miscellaneous items there, and committee updates. And I don't have anything for you on those items at this time. But before we conclude, we'll pause and see if there's any questions or clarifications or even comments at this time. Okay, hearing none, I appreciate everybody participating this evening, and just keep in mind that we will be face-to-face in the elementary cafeteria on Monday, February 19th. Thank you and have a great evening, everybody.
And we're meeting at 5:30 next week, correct?
Yes, 5:30 for executive session, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.